I'm tired of the other women. I'm tired of him using me. For 2 months, I didn't even hear from you. Where were you?
I'm overwhelmed, man. I love you.
Fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. He fooled you about 50 times.
We are a financial disaster because of him.
Divorce doesn't exist where I'm from.
Neither one of you is wrong for having your opinions, but it just makes you wrong for each other. There's been a huge breach of trust, according to you.
She was on the fast with the pastor. She sending pictures with a smoothie of straw in her mouth and a sausage McMuffin. Can I eat this, pastor? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on, why you gotta send pictures with it?
Here is today's case.
What happens when a spouse's gambling addiction leaves the family in ruins? Can this relationship be saved? Or will this 12-year relationship go down the drain? That's today's case on Divorce Court.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, our virtual audience is filled with your superfans. Today's superfan of the day is Nick from Rockaway, New Jersey.
Welcome to Divorce Court, Nick. We're happy to have you with us. As my special guest today, I'm sending you a signed copy of my book on how to stay smart in matters of the heart. Enjoy.
Your Honor, this is the case of Horne versus Avila.
Thank you, Juan. Ms. Lauren Horne.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have brought Mr. Miguel Avila
Yes, Your Honor.
to divorce court today. I understand the two of you have been in a relationship for a long time, 12 years.
Yes, 12 years, Your Honor.
You're not married. You do have 2 children together and 1 on the way?
Yes, I'm 8 months.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
I understand you're here in divorce court because you're trying to make a decision about how to move forward with your relationship and make the right one so you don't end up back here later down the road.
Exactly, Your Honor.
I'll start with you, Ms. Horne. Why don't you give me some background?
Your Honor, I'm here today because of the underlying issues. We've been together 12 years and I love and admire him so much, but I'm at my wit's end. We have a beautiful family together, 2 beautiful children, and my 3rd on the way, but I'm almost through, I'm done.
Why?
The underlying issues of his gambling, his lies, things that he can't explain 24/7, and I'm tired of playing mom.
What do you have to say about that, Mr. Avila?
I'm here to prove to her that I'm not willing to lose her or my kids or my house or nothing important. There's nothing in the world that I want more than them. I want to prove to her that I can stop my gambling addiction.
Mr. Avila says he does believe he has a problem, but you said it's escalated to the point to where it's really impacted your family. What's happened?
Not only emotionally, but financially, Your Honor. Financially, it takes from our family, and sometimes I feel like he don't think about that. It takes from my mouth, my children's mouth, our family financial means, and it's driving me crazy.
What's happened?
Utility bills, bills that have piled up, unpaid bills. Not only it may affect my credit, but also, you know, it's a strain on the relationship emotionally, and it's constantly arguing.
You said in your papers that it's gotten to the point where your utility bills have been disconnected. What happened?
On one occasion, I was traveling at the time for work, and I get a call during a presentation. I'm right in the middle of a big deal, and I get a phone call that the lights was disconnected. So I had to stop what I was doing, go take care of it. I mean, the children can't be there without utilities, without lights.
How did it get disconnected? How far behind were you?
When I called the light company, they told me it had not been paid in 2 months. And it was on the 3rd, so it was disconnected. I had to pay a reconnect fee.
What happened, Mr. Avila?
It comes down to my gambling addictions. I had a problem. I know that at the moment, I wasn't thinking of my kids or my wife or my house financially. It came down to me losing. I almost lost a house twice, lost phones, lost important things that came down to us, clothes. I done went behind her back and gambled and taken money out of her account, our joint account.
So even if that happens, my question is, because you're being forthcoming about all the things that you've done, but my question is, when it gets to the point to where the bills aren't being paid, and you know that they're not being paid, and you know that you're behind, are you not communicating this to her?
I didn't. I was telling her that I was paying them, and literally I thought that I can push the bill, the light bill, our phone bills, our house rent, our mortgage, and I told her I admit to it. I'm sorry, I can't take it back. I know what's done is done, and I wasn't thinking of my actions.
When did you start gambling?
Oh, it started when I was 14 or 15 when I was in Mexico as a young child, learning how to scam kids around, getting a couple dollars here and there. When I got into 16 to 20, football, basketball, I just started hustling money, knowing how to trick.
So were you gambling or taking bets?
I was taking bets and scamming. And I take that back because now that I look at it and review myself, everything that I put on the line, I could have risked losing. It started getting more and more and more and more, and I was trying to stop. I was stopping, and then it went from, oh, I can win again, and then I ended up losing more than I was winning.
That's usually how it works.
And I wasn't thinking.
You said that there was an incident where your house was robbed, or you believe that you were victims of a robbery?
Actually, I think that was a story that he told. I was on my way back from the West Coast, from the LA area, and he breaks the bombshell that our house was broken into. And because I want to believe him and give him the benefit of the doubt, because of his lies and his gambling issues, I thought it was a little fishy.
What did he say was stolen?
My desktop computer, my Apple laptop computer, a second computer that I had, all the electronics in the house, designer purses, iPhones.
My back door was kicked in. To this day, I don't know who did it.
Listen, I don't have to be one and have years of detective experience to put two and two together as to what happened.
Since of my incidents in the past of lying, she's gonna assume that I had something to do with it.
Yeah, that's what happens. Mr. Avila, was your home broken into?
Man, she thinks, accusing me of me pawning things because of the past, me pawning computers, but no. Walked in the house, realized my back door was kicked in, everything on the ground. And not even on top of that, I owed a debt to two guys that I had gambled. And to be honest, to this day, I don't know who did it.
Did you call the police?
I get accused, yes. After that, the cops came in, the detectives looked and everything, but they didn't find nothing.
Listen, I don't have to be one and have years of detective experience to put two and two together as to what happened with the break-in.
Since of my incidents in the past of lying and doing things, she's gonna assume that I had something to do with it.
Yeah, that's what happens. So, that's a fair assessment to make. But what happened with the car accident and the deer?
Your Honor, I was out of town working at this time, and I wake up around 1 o'clock in the morning, and I have about 3 or 4 pictures of my car totaled. So I immediately made a few phone calls to ask questions, make sure everyone was safe. I didn't know if my kids were in the car. I didn't know any of the...
Who sent you the photos?
Miguel sent me the photos. Miguel sent me the photos, and he didn't explain himself, and I didn't even speak to him until later on that afternoon, until he could get his story straight. And when I zoomed into the pictures, there was blood all over the side of the car. But it looked like finger blood. It did not even look like a splatter, which I'm no detective, but I watch it on CSI to know.
Oh, man.
During that date, I couldn't get a hold of him. Finally get a hold of him, he says he hit a deer. Couldn't figure out what had happened or the details.
It was a Sunday afternoon. I was going to one of my family member's house to watch a football game.
But he
ended up going the back roads. A deer crossed the street. I hit it. I mean, I either hit it or kill myself. What can I do?
But he
I was
lied
driving
about
40.
the location, Your
She
Honor,
wants to
of
accuse
where it
that I was
happened.
drunk. The incident happened. I didn't have the courage to call her.
You took the photos and sent them to her at 1 a.m.?
So I went out of my way pretended like, oh, I hit a deer at night, used my kids' Halloween fake blood, smothered it all around the car.
You saying that's what you did?
Yes, I did that. Parked the car on the side, made a fake crime scene, took some pictures on different angles, and then 2 days later, she flies in randomly, demanding take me to the spot. Where's the deer?
I don't understand. Why are you engaging in this cover-up about this accident?
I was nervous to tell her, to call her at the moment.
Okay, so back up for a second. So you took fake blood from your children's Halloween costumes and you smeared it on the car.
Yes.
Why did you do that if you said you had an accident and hit a deer?
I didn't want her to know because she would probably think that I'm going to a family member to do drinking, cookouts, or whatever.
This doesn't make any sense to me. No. It just doesn't make sense what you're saying.
I think he wanted it to appear or seem like it was more dramatic than it was. He also lied about the location of where the incident happened. He wanted me to believe he was on his way to work, and it wasn't. It didn't happen at nighttime. It happened during the day, and it was completely opposite directions.
He said he was on his way to his family's house.
That was the truth, but he wanted to lie and tell me he was on the way to work at nighttime when he hit this deer.
So that was the lie?
Yes. The gambling, the lies continue, Your Honor, and I can't stand lies.
I asked one of my colleagues to come to court today and listen to your testimony.
Gambling in a lot of ways is about the avoidance of pain. And I think lying in a lot of ways is the avoidance of pain.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free, 1-877-311-2222, or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Miss the show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. Why is it an issue for him to go to his family's house, according to him, but he has to lie about it?
The vibe and the peer pressure that some of his family put on him. I don't like the drinking scene. I don't like the drinking. I don't know if he's going to drink and drive. I just never know what the circumstance will be. But the gambling, the lies continue, Your Honor, and I can't stand lies.
What is a lie you say he's told recently? Is it about his job?
His job.
What happened with that?
There was no construction. There was no construction at all for him to work, and so I told him he had to get another job, so he was working at a plant. And I found out, Your Honor, he was not showing up for work.
What's your reason?
At that moment, that time, there was no work. I had to choose to go to a chicken plant where I did not want to be at. The last 2 weeks, I just stopped going. I parked the car at the chicken plant, hop in the back seat with a cover. I'm asleep. I don't like this job. I just didn't know how to tell her, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this place.
You were going to work at that time and sleeping in the car and not actually going in?
At 10:45 to 7 in the morning, I would just go, sleep in the car, and then I'll pretend like I'm going home, walking through the door. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I'm about to go take a shower.
When in fact, you had been resting all day in your car.
Literally, yes.
So you go home, look her right in her face, you look your children right in their face, and you say, I'm tired, I've had such a long day at work. And what that does is, when you do that day after day, and people see that you can lie with so much ease, they don't know what else you're lying about. They don't know what other secrets you're keeping. They don't know what else you're capable of deceiving them about.
I understand.
So there can be no trust because it's been completely eroded, gone. I asked one of my colleagues to come to court today and listen to your testimony because I was concerned about several of the issues that you've raised in your relationship. You're now about to bring another child into this world despite all of this.
Yes.
Which is very challenging.
Yes.
You're in a serious predicament in this relationship because of everything that I've heard. So I asked Mr. Avila to come to court, listen to the testimony, because he's a licensed counselor with over 10 years of experience in dealing with addiction and substance abuse issues. Juan, would you please bring in Mr. Pullikin? Thank you. Mr. Pullikin, thank you for being here. Have you had the opportunity to hear the testimony of Mr. Avila and Ms. Horne?
I have, Your Honor.
I would like for you to speak to Mr. Avila in particular because he has admitted in court today that he has some issues with gambling. several times, but he's also said that he's been able to, on his own, combat this addiction, and he hasn't been gambling the last 6 to 12 months, according to him. But all of these issues have now come up in their relationship, and I would like for you to speak to Mr. Avila.
I'd be happy to, Your Honor. So, Mr. Avila, I've listened to your story, I've read your paperwork, and you've had a difficult journey. Gambling can be a really hard thing to overcome. But the thing that I want to make you aware of is the damage that gambling does to a person and to a relationship doesn't necessarily stop once the actual habit stops. It makes you more vulnerable to being addicted to other things. It makes you more dishonest with the people in your life. And I think even though you've kind of let some of that gambling move past that stage in your life where it exerts control over you, there is a part of you that still struggles with honesty. And I think that's still, in a lot of ways, part of the addict mindset. And the reason I say this is because gambling, in a lot of ways, is about the avoidance of pain. And I think lying, in a lot of ways, is the avoidance of pain. You don't want to disappoint the woman you love. So what do? You lie to her, you misrepresent things, you leave information out. The woman you love has to serve as a human lie detector. And she finds herself wondering day after day after day, how much of what you're saying is actually correct. So the thing that I'm going to say is that it's going to be really important for you, even though you haven't actively gambled in these last few months, to seek out treatment anyway. Just because even though the actual gambling has stopped, many of the behaviors associated with it have gotten here to the point where they're poisoning this 12-year relationship that Ms. Horne and you have built together.
Thank you, Mr. Pullican.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for being here. Mr. Avila, Ms. Horne, you're dealing with a lot of the fallout from many of the decisions you've made over the last decade in this relationship. And this residue is very much still present. Because once the trust is gone,
it's gone.
You know, I always say, trust is lost in buckets, but it's earned in drops. There's a lot of work you have to do to get that trust back. So you have to make a choice, sir. I think you need help outside of yourself, because what you're doing is impacting your family.
Yes.
And when you're getting to the point where you're going to work and you're lying about it, and for 8 hours a day, you're sleeping in your car, rather than going where you can earn money to help your family, then you know you've hit rock bottom. So today has to be the day that you turn that around and start being honest with yourself about addressing some of these things that you've been doing since you were a child. You said when you were 15, 16 years old, you were already out hustling people on the streets. Your family is not somebody who should be hustled. They should be a part of your team that you're working to build something with, sir. And that should start with you today. Ms. Horne, obviously, over the course of these last several years, being aware of everything that's been happening with Mr. Avila, the lies, the addiction, the pain, the suffering, you made a decision at some point. This is my man, I'm gonna stick beside him. You said you were gonna stick beside him, but now you're here in divorce court. My advice to you is, you watch and see what he does. The best apology is changed behavior. That should be the only apology you accept for you and on behalf of your children. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Faith was absolutely correct. Just how deep the lies can get, and how, you know, being a liar can affect the relationship, and how bad things really have been. And I hope this is an eye-opener for him.
I want help. I think I need it. Even to look at her in the face and look at the judge and the doctor for them to tell me something that I know that I already knew, I need treatment.
Moving forward, seek counseling, of course. Try to stick by him and see if we can start with a clean slate. You needed to hear it from somebody else, because I'm so sick of this. Like, I'm done. Like, I want things to be clear, or it's enough for me.
I can only do better if I do better for myself.